Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Turner, and I will be presenting the financial analysis for ULTA Incorporated today. What you will see on the screen is a high-level overview of the financials. In front of you, you have a written document that gives you the illustrations of the balance sheets and the income statements that were used to analyze the company's standings. The financial health overall for ULTA Incorporated is a positive one at this time. We have all been impacted by the economic impacts of COVID-19, and this is an impact that is going to continue to influence all manners of our world for an unknown period of time. We have been within the COVID situation for roughly 2 years at this point. And these financials for ULTA cover the time frames of 2020 and 2021. And this will give a good indication of how the company has weathered that pandemic. The liquidity ratios for ULTA that were chosen for this analysis are the current ratio, the cash ratio, and the inventory turnover. These three were chosen because the company needs to be able to meet the short-term debt, definitely in an unknown economic environment, as we are impacted internationally and domestically. The current ratio for ULTA for the quarter ending 1/30/21 is 1.87. The quarter ending 10/31/20 was 1.82. ULTA is in a strong position to meet its current short-term debt. The cash ratio also from the quarter 10/31/20 to 1/31/21 has improved. So the company does not quite have the 100% liquidity to cover all of its debt. However, it is trending in the right direction. Inventory turnover gives us an indication of the growth in their sales. For this particular situation, for 2020, the inventory ratio is 3.8, so that means they have to transition their inventory about 3.8 times per year, and the number of days in that reference was 106 roughly. In 2021, the turnover ratio is 3.4, and the number of days is 95 that they have to change over that inventory. So that is a positive sign that that time frame has improved and more sales are being made. Solvency ratio. Solvency gives us an indication of the very long-term resiliency of the company, and not only its ability to meet its current situation, but also to grow and meet its future debt and sales goals per se. The debt to equity for 2020 was 2.61. And the debt to equity for 2021 was 1.55. So what that means is for every dollar of equity the company has, they have $1.55 in debt. And the change in the debt to equity ratio is a positive one as well from 2020 to 2021. The total debt ratio has remained consistent at 0.61 for 20 and 21, and that is good as well. Any abrupt changes indicate that there's a definite issue somewhere within the company in regard to its money it owes or its stock situation. The equity ratio for 2021 and 2020 were also the same at 2.55. This is a positive and strong result that supports investor confidence, and investing in ULTA is a solid choice. That is also a very big indicator for the long-term success of the company. Profitability ratios gives us an idea of how quickly the company turns over its assets, how much it makes gross profit long-term, taking into consideration its expenses and other liabilities as well. The gross profit ratio for 2020 and 2021 remains consistent at 0.35. Understand that this is a positive number, and in this economic condition, that is a positive thing. Asset turnover ratio from 2020 to 2021 increased slightly. And so that is also a good thing. The price and earnings ratio for 2021 is showing at 95.7, which is a very, very strong result. Again, and that coincides with the equity ratio as well and the investor confidence in the company. Performance strengths and weaknesses. This one was very important to understand that ULTA has a very diverse product line. It is inclusive of private label, luxury, and convenience. The consumer appeal, product variation, as well as presentation attracts consumers across all demographic and economic backgrounds. It is important to understand that some of the competitors that ULTA has have a unique situation where they are inside of a mall or inside of another larger store, such as Sephora with JCPenney. So it is just a different, unique niche type of a store. Sally Beauty Supply, you'll see in the documentation in front of you, is one of the competitors that was used as a comparison to understand other competitors within the industry. So the strengths of ULTA is that it does have a diverse product line for all ages and economies. One of the biggest and best choices the company made was partnering with social media influencers, and as such, having proprietary labels. And those social media influencers sent new clientele to the stores. So young social media apps such as like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, all of those different types of platforms, there are beauty influencers in there, and those social media platforms attract many from all walks of life. So that was a very solid business decision for the company. Additionally, the ULTA has salon services within the stores, so not only do they sell what they sell, but they use what they sell. And that is also a very big thing for a consumer to know how to use something and to know that it works. So not only do they have the salon services within the store that have repeat business, they also have trained makeup artists in-house. So that means if you are looking for a particular product, if you are looking for a specific solution, then the trained makeup artist is in there to give you the real information that you need in order to find a solution to your situation. Along those strengths there, it's very important to point out that diversity efforts include all walks of life. So from every identity, they have like, they're very LGBTQ and supportive in that platform. So you will find social media influencers of varying kinds having their products on display and for sale within their stores. That is a very important focus because that is a reality of our world right now, and they need that support. And this company has chosen to take that on, and so that will definitely play in for future results. Weaknesses for ULTA Incorporated right now is their lack of international expansion. It was within their business plan to begin in Canada, however, that has been halted. And so ULTA does not have an international presence. And not only that, they do not they do not mail or ship product to international addresses. So that does limit their audience from that perspective. And that is something that would have to be addressed in order for their continued growth and expansion in the future. Right now with international expansion, it is a little bit more complex because of course the current economic condition is just impacting that as well. The other weaknesses is they had recent significant change in leadership, and so many of the CEOs changed, and many of that leadership team has made a transition, and so that comes with some uncertainty in regard to business plan, performance, and how the company's going to move forward. So that is one thing to watch. The horizontal and vertical analysis of ULTA Incorporated were done both on the balance sheet and the income statement. So on the horizontal analysis of the balance sheet, you can see some positive increases over 2020 results. There's a 22% increase in current assets, 108% increase in cash and equivalents, 5% increase in total assets, 5% increase in shareholders' equity. One thing I'd mention is ULTA does have, and this is in your documentation there, ULTA did have a stock buyback plan that has been in place from 2018, 2019. It was also put back in place as well in 2020. So that has helped its cash as well. Concerns revealed by the horizontal analysis of the balance sheet include a 39% increase in accounts receivable. So accounts receivable, are they not able to collect the money that they need to collect from their clients? And that can have a negative impact on their cash balance. So that is something to look at. Obviously, COVID did impact everybody, like I've mentioned. And so that does have an impact on the accounts receivable as well, the ability to pay that money back. But that is definitely something that we need to look for, because if there's not enough cash, then ULTA has to look for other ways in order to meet their debts and continue to grow and invest in different ways. And so there's also an 18% increase in current liabilities, and that could be, a higher debt margin, but again, it can impact the capital availability of ULTA, and then also if they establish too much credit going forward, at some point that becomes a risk as well. So they may not be able to get additional credit. They become limited. Horizontal analysis of the income statement: total revenue is down 17%, gross profit down 34%, operating income down 74%. The vertical analysis of the balance sheet and income statement, you can see that on the balance sheet there was small increases in regard to some of the asset categories and small decreases in liability and equities as well. But it's, again, another concern is the liabilities have to be especially in this economic condition. Positive indicators overall on the vertical analysis of the income statement. So the company is in a good position. Real quickly, trends. The international exposure is something that's going to continue to haunt ULTA potentially in the future for sure. The loyalty program is a positive growth trend that seems to be increasing. Negative trends, again, is the store launching, and there were stores closed due to COVID, so that set them back a little bit. Company is trying to focus on new products and using client feedback in order to establish that. And suppliers and distributors have been impacted by the pandemic internationally and domestically, and that can impact inventory and costs as well. So there are a lot of things we know and a lot of things we don't know, but at this point in time, ULTA is a very strong company in a very strong position, and these types of products withstand economic changes. And as long as they focus on the inclusiveness and diversity, the company will continue to grow and expand. Thank you for your time and attention today. And if you have any questions, please let me know.